Hello, grade 11 home language students. Welcome to Colorful Options Tutoring. I'm Mrs. Carmen, and today we're tackling one of Shakespeare's most famous and subversive poems, Sonnet 130, often titled, My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. So the poem is an absolute gem for higher level students because it does something genuinely new. It challenges centuries of conventional love and poetry, particularly the exaggerated comparisons of the patriarchal tradition, to give us a real and honest portrait of love. So, in this sonnet, Shakespeare ridicules the courtly love tradition, where a lover idealizes and idolizes his loved one. He emphasizes the strength of his love for an imperfect but very real woman. At first, he seems to feel nothing positive towards his love, but in the final couplet, his sincere love for her is evident. The strange comparisons give the poem impact, and the concluding couplet creates a surprise effect. So the form and the structure of Sonnet 130, it's a Shakespearean or English sonnet. It consists from 3 quatrains, 1 rhyming couplet. The rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F. The poem is a parody of the conventional love sonnet. The romantic poets would praise love and beauty. Shakespeare embraces irony by mocking these details. The poem has an iambic pentameter with 10 syllables and a pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. Sonnet 130 by William Shakespeare. So we're going to be working through the poem in the next few slides, but here is the poem in full. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. So eyes and lips are traditionally compared and are features of female beauty. Nothing is a negative comparison, not like the sun, so not as radiant as the sun. So what he is saying is that she has very ordinary eyes. They are lackluster. They're not as bright as the sun. We have a simile, the word like, he compares her eyes to the sun. Line 2, coral is far more red than her lips red. So coral is a red pinkish color. This is telling us that her lips are quite pale compared to coral. We see another simile in line 2, when we see more than red, as this is a comparison. Line 3, if snow be white, why then her breasts are done? So it's a strong compliment. Usually snow is very white, obviously. So in those days, having a snow white complexion was considered to be a beautiful trait. So it was a beautiful attribute to have in the Shakespearean days. So this line is basically telling us if snow be white, then why her breasts are done. Her complexion did not match the snow white complexion, what was an attribute of beauty at the time. So we can assume that she has a less fair, more tan complexion. The word dun also implies a dull gray or a brown color. Line number 4. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. So if hairs be wires, this is painting this image of thread-like wires basically sprouting from her head. So this is not a pretty picture, but it's a metaphor because her hair is compared to black wires as it is not soft and flowing, but hard and spiky. So this is very abrupt and off-putting as a description. Line 5 and 6. I have seen roses demasked, red and white, but no such roses I see in her cheeks. So demasked is implying that they were pinkish in color. So essentially what Shakespeare is telling us in these two lines is that she does not have blush cheeks, which were considered to be attractive with a pale complexion. And this was also an image of good health. So in line 7 and 8, we see another simile. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. So this is telling us that some perfumes are far more fragrant than the smell of her breath. This is particularly shocking and offensive, as you can imagine. What Shakespeare is basically saying is that he has smelled perfumes that smell much better than her breath. But please note that the word reeks over here, it might not have been used in the same way which we would today. The word might have had different connotations. So when we attach a negative connotation to reek today, implying a foul odor, in those days, reeks could have just been referring to normal smell. Line number 9 and 10, I love to hear her speak, yet while I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. So I love to hear her speak. He is under no illusions. He would love to hear her speak, okay, but he prefers to listen to music instead. It just sounds better than her voice. So the music is more gentle or more pleasing to hear for Shakespeare than her voice. In line number 11 and line number 12, I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. So he admits that he had never seen a goddess. She's not very graceful. Okay, when she walks, she treads on the ground. She doesn't float. Okay, the word treads, it's implying a harshness and clumsiness, which emphasizes that she is a very real person. Shakespeare is writing a love poem to a real person. It is not the same idealized nonsense that we saw in other works around the Romantic period, when everybody was perfect and everybody's complexion was porcelain and blah, blah, blah. Traits not associated with real human beings. And Shakespeare is basically complementing those real human being traits in his satire of those romantic poems. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. So even his love for her, okay, this is either talking about his love for her, or he refers to her literally as my love. So it could either be the emotion love, or he's referring to her as my love. So The entire poem is a false comparison of her beauty. So, for example, he should say that her eyes are like the sun, if he was trying to be like the other romantic poems. He would write about your eyes have the tint of all the world's most beautiful forests, blah, blah, blah. But no, he's just embracing her real flawed characteristics. So it's ironic because he denies that she possesses any heavenly qualities, yet he sees by heaven that the woman he loves is as rare as any woman whom she has been compared and who has been described by means of false comparisons. So the tone of Sonnet 130, it has a mocking tone because it is obviously mocking the poetry that we saw in the Romantic era, but at the same time, it has a serious tone. The mood is mocking and humorous. The piece is a parody. It's a satire of the Romantic poetry that we saw at the time. And the core theme that we find throughout Sonnet 130 is that real love doesn't need false tributes. Any woman can be beautiful, even if your breasts are done.